This has got to be on the top 10 list of the most pointless electric bikes ever made. So this electric bike conversion company called Switch, they say that their kit is going to fit onto any bicycle. But what they don't know is I'm not putting it on any old bicycle. Today we're crossing over, putting an electric bike kit onto a wacky rowing machine bicycle. Now it could be dangerous, it could be pointless, but rest assured it is not AI generated. And you know what? I made that intro myself. A little bit of a humble brag right there, but anyways, electric bike kits, they're a dime a dozen. And I get a bunch of emails in my inbox of companies saying, hey, check out our new kit or whatever. And I'm just kind of tired of doing the same old review video. I want to do something different, something fun. When Switch contacted me and all they wanted to know was the wheel size of the bike that I was doing, my mind started to turn a little bit. Could I get a rowing machine bicycle to work with an electric kit? I didn't know if this build was going to work at all, and I didn't want them to know that I was onto something. How embarrassed would you guys be if this doesn't work on my bike?
Wait, you're recording this, aren't you?
Now the call didn't go as expected, but I did get what I wanted. My base bicycle is the row bike. It is a bicycle, it runs on two wheels, but instead of pedals, this huge handlebar lever pulls the chain to move the bike. And from the conversion company Switch, they sent out a kit. This is just the battery, but they sent out a kit to make this all happen. Now they call it a universal kit, but we're gonna see just how universal it is. I've got some notes on the build process. It was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. Now again, the bike has no pedals, so we didn't have any use for pedal assist. If there was a way to kind of stretch out the magnets and maybe put it onto the seat, I might be able to do something in a linear movement fashion, but I think that would just magnify the unpredictable engagement. But here in the USA, we do have some options because we love freedom and civil lawsuits, but we do have throttle-powered electric bikes, and I'm glad that we got one from Switch. I'm going to install the throttle up on the handlebars, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but the handlebars have some weird stuff going on. Now the actual bar pulls back and forth, and the stem cap is replaced with a super strong nut that has to handle all that force. Now in response, we're going to have to extend the motor cable a few times so that the battery and the controller on the handlebars can reach the wheel, even when the fully extended handlebars are all the way in the rear position. To accommodate for this, I'm going to zip tie this long motor cable extension to a length of derailleur cable. Now I did this to add some rigidity and predictability to the slack. I just didn't want it all to hang loose because I was worried about the line getting caught in the foot platforms. And right as rain, with enough zip ties, we were able to make anything. It actually wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. But nevertheless, it's finished, and we now have, perhaps, the world's first electric conversion rowing machine bicycle. So now let's go ahead and ride it. This has got to be on the top 10 list of the most pointless electric bikes ever made, and I love it. It's so much fun. When scooting around using only the throttle, it already looks bizarre, and when I start rowing, it looks even more outlandish. So in terms of wacky bikes that get attention, this is definitely cream of the crop. People would stop what they're doing, pull over their cars, bust out their phones, and try to snap something for the gram. Now I'm already used to the attention because I ride wacky bikes quite a bit. But in the case of the row bike, I was out a lot longer than I normally am, and I was able to ride a much further distance and actually get away from people, because normally when I'm on the row bike without any kind of assistance, I'm kind of condemned to just the parking lot that I wind up driving to. More on that in a minute. I'm not wholly confident on where I wound up putting the battery because it swings in the air like the end of a pool noodle. Now surprisingly, the mount kept it in place. I thought it might have fallen off, but it did pretty good. Another option would be to fabricate a mount to go on the front of the head tube, past the foot platforms, and then extend the throttle cable up to the handlebars, maybe the display, but probably not. Now I'm talking about this as if an electric converted row bike would be a viable product. I mean, the potential market for this kind of thing is razor thin, or to put it in some British terms, it would be like having a chocolate teapot. As ridiculous as it seems, the way we have it, this bike does have some justifications. One thing to know about the row bike is that it's very exhausting to ride, and especially at the dead beginning. The purpose of the bike is a total body workout, but in general the bike does not have a lot of low range gearing. It's really hard to initiate momentum. Now, to my surprise, the Switch kit actually added a fair amount of utility to the row bike. With the throttle, I can carefully power the bike from a standstill and then jump into the rowing action when I have balance and control. Now, it sounds silly, and it looks even sillier, but I actually like the bike better now that it has the kit. Now, this is about as viable as an inflatable dartboard, but I really don't care because I'm having a ton of fun. The balance on the bike is really not hard once you get momentum, and the electric kit does a lot in that regard. On top of that, I can actually transport myself a short distance using just the throttle. So now I can escape the apartment complex and actually get to a park. Now, this kit only has a 36 volt 5 amp hour battery, which is enough for me to commit to a 5-mile ride and then have enough to get home. So of course I'm really stretching the intentions of what they made the Switch kit for in the first place. I mean, I really don't anticipate that they had foreseen a caterpillar-like movement on this ultra exertion of a lopsided output vehicle, but yeah, nevertheless, it did have a little bit of use. So the electric row bike is very clearly illogical. I mean, even if it does work in like literal terms, but I was actually not 100% confident that this build would go together. So I actually got a second kit from Switch. The next one is their Go kit. It's the newest kit that's actually launching pretty much right now. It has a ton of added range and utility. You'll want to check that out if you ride a normal bike like a normal person. But for me, I'm going to be enjoying the electric row bike for a little bit longer, maybe much longer, because this is actually not the limit or even the starting position for my wacky bike adventures. You can click on this playlist to watch some more wacky bikes, or check out Switch in the description below. I'm Mikey for Blue Monkey Bicycles, and I will see you on the later.